I want to introduce Raul Alvarez. Raul came to work for us recently. I've known him for quite a while. I've recruited him now actively for probably over a year. Finally got him to come over and work with us. Raul is I think a very well-respected guy in the market. So with that being said, Raul, welcome to the show. We're glad to have you as part of our team at eMortgage Management. So tell us a little bit about yourself and your background.
Well, thank you, Scott. I'm glad to be here and appreciate the invitation. But I've been in the mortgage business now going on for a little bit over 14 years. And I started into this business by getting into sales. So I sold most everything, name it. I sold vitamins, sold home alarm systems, sold cars at one of the top dealerships. So, and what I did was my background is I was born and raised in the state of Massachusetts in a small town called Lawrence, which is located about 40 minutes north of Boston. And big Boston sports fan. Love the change of seasons. Arguably, I enjoy the snow.
And I'm sure you're a huge Patriots fan because you guys just seem to win and win and win. I am not a Patriots fan. I respect the Patriots, though. Yeah. It's a phenomenal organization. I'd love to see the Tampa Bay Bucks.
7-0. 7-0.
Yeah, I know. All right, enough about the Patriots.
But so part of the reason why I had moved down to Florida, and this was back in 2003, was because the cost of living in Massachusetts, it's very high, especially with the property taxes. So I thought of the opportunity of home ownership down here, and was offered a great opportunity to work as well. And so business was booming in Florida, and I'd say within the first 7 to 8 months, I purchased my first home.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's great. So you got down here, got away from. You say you like snow, and I like snow every once in a while too. Yep. But the way that they've been getting pounded in the Northeast the last couple of years, I don't know if anybody likes that much snow.
Yeah, I don't like it that much.
I gotcha.
Yeah.
So you tell me, what are some things that you feel are important when discussing the mortgage process or mortgage options with your customer?
One of the things that I try to find out that is important for me, important for the potential client, is what they're looking for as far as their monthly mortgage payment. So I'll ask them what they currently pay for rent, mm-hmm. and what their mortgage payment needs to be. So I discuss that with them, find a need that is important to them. The other thing that I also go over with them and ask them is how much money have they currently saved? What do they have as far as assets? What form of assets do they have? Checking, savings, and a 401k. And if they don't have enough for a down payment, there's also the option where I discuss with them about possibly getting down payment assistance,
right?
Through the nonprofit organization. So there are organizations out there, and depending on the counties, that will offer to help the first-time home buyer to get that type of down payment assistance, whether it's going to be for putting down payment or to cover the closing costs.
Right, and there are some great programs. We've done a show regarding down payment assistance in the past. So typically, the way the down payment assistance programs work, it depends on where you want to purchase. Some cities have their own down payment assistance. Pasco County has their own down payment assistance. So if a city's big enough, sometimes they have their own program. But you definitely can find that information online, and I encourage people. Now, there are income limitations. If you make too much money, you're not going to qualify for down payment assistance. But, Raul kind of hit on something there when he talks about, how much they're paying in rent. It kind of goes to that rent versus buy conversation. There's a lot of opportunity out there, especially through these down payment assistance organizations, where you can get yourself in a situation with down payment assistance, purchasing a home and paying hundreds of dollars less than you're paying in rent on a monthly basis. And we've shown the examples before on the radio show, and we'll show them again. Buying a home with rates as low as they are today is very, very doable. And there's a lot of help out there and a lot of assistance out there. And I want to ask you another question, because you've worked for some of the big banks. So having worked for some of the big banks, tell me why you decided to come work for a smaller direct lender like us. Because I know the last company you just worked for was Regions, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And that's a big bank.
Yeah, it is. Well, I mean, for the past 10 years, I worked for some of the biggest banks, big lenders such as Bank of America, Wells Fargo. I worked for Chase for a couple of years. And like you said, most recently, I had worked at Regions Bank. So reason why I decided to go to the direction of working for a smaller direct lender is because I just found that working for the big banks was not, from my experience, profitable. And at the time that it takes to comply with some of the strict underwriting regulations, dealing with the overlays that I have had a lot of challenges with buyers that really qualified, was a disadvantage. On the other hand, it's a big advantage for us as a direct lender because we have that diversity of programs that you said that we can broker out to. So we can represent as both a banker and a broker.
Yeah, which is huge. Yeah. That makes a big deal, and I don't think people understand that enough. It does make a huge, huge deal. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Yeah, no. And the other thing, too, is that, I don't know, I just find that it's a lot more personal for the underwriters that, you know, when I worked for the big banks, you know, it was just, the process was just a lot more time consuming.
Right. So with us, you know, when we're dealing with our underwriters, we're dealing with the same people on a pretty regular basis. So, you know, I want to thank Raul for coming on today. Unfortunately, we're running out of time already. The time flies by when we get on the radio, and we could go on for another hour probably.
I'm ready for another hour.
I know you are. We'll get you back on. We'll get you back in for another hour. So.